Okay, so guys, good evening, everyone, and welcome. And we're delighted to have you all us today for our webinar coaching through the ICF Assessor lens. And it's my great pleasure to introduce our speaker, Judit Abri, MCC. Judith has been an ICF assessor since 2013, and she is MCC coach since 2017. And she brings extensive experience as a mentor coach at Henley Business School and co-author of the book Becoming an ICF Credentialed Coach. Judith has trained and mentored countless coaches and worthwhile. And we're honored to have her and share her deep knowledge and practical insight with us today, including frequent mistakes coaches make and guiding principle from the assessor sides. And before I will pass the microphone to Judith today, several quick notes for logistics. First of all, as you know, the session, as the rest of the session, is recorded for learning purposes. And also Judith may also share this recording for her social media platforms. And for CCC credit attendance, especially for the participants who keep their cameras off, we will be sharing several numbers in the chat during the webinar. And we ask you kindly to type the numbers back prompted as you will receive it in order for us to confirm your active participation. Judith, the microphone is yours.
Thank you very much and welcome, and so great to meet you. And I love this scene and wish I could just go on like this, but I have a presentation, so I have to show my professionalism that I prepared for this session. But the best is if we see each other like this and we make it interactive. Actually, I'm really a workaholic, so I'm gonna make you work too. But it's going to be a whole reflective session and discussion session with energy. We have to have energy because your evening time, soon my evening time is coming. So unless we put all our attention and our presence to that, we may fall asleep or we get diverted to other evening activities. So I'm very happy and grateful for you being here and being interested. And let's start with a selfish note. For me, the value is if it's valuable for you. So what is the question that we ask our clients every time we come to a coaching session? What is that you want to take away from this session? What is your outcome that you would like you work for during our 90 minutes? So this is relevant here, just like in any session with our clients. And my success is if you make it useful for yourself. I think the most valuable thing is our time. And if we spend our time, we want to make sure why we are doing it, what we're getting out of that. So I really prepared a presentation where we start from the practicalities. I'm very down to the little details of things that show up in your coaching session or don't show up, and maybe they should show up in the future. This is one thing. And the other is then we look at the system. How are we structuring as coaches? What do we work with? What is our development path when we go from ACC, BCC to MCC? How we work with that? And then obviously, what are those guiding principles that in ICF coaching everywhere, in competencies, in assessment situations, they always turn up? What are those 4 criteria? We shall be looking at those 2. Okay, so I say goodbye now. Because I showed the presentation, I won't see all of you. But I will ask Mariana and Gelly to help me with just raise your hands, ask your question. And I said at the beginning to your colleagues who were here and greeting me is that, I'm a very good coach. I can hold silence beautifully. So if you don't respond, you don't talk to me, we should have a silent session. So let's make it active. Let's make it full of energy. And thank you for being here. So let me see how this sharing goes through. It always takes some time. Which is, again, thank you for working with cameras. I'm grateful, although I won't see you all, but please feel free to cut in or write in the chat, which again, I don't see, but I will ask Mariana and Gali to check it for me. And so here we go, the presentation will come, and it comes with an intro. For me, as you will see the presentation coming up, one of my just you have to signal to me when it's coming. It takes time. This is technology, but soon it's here. Okay, now you can see it, I hope. Okay, and let me just
We
move
can
this.
see it now, yes.
You can see it beautiful. The only thing is that I can't move you to the side and you're in the middle of my screen, which is not such a problem, but I will try to move that is okay, but it's okay. Let me
We
just.
see all the presentation.
You see, though, I know but
Okay.
I'm just trying to organize. Now I've done it. Moved you to the side, and now I can organize the presentation. Great. Thank you for the input, feedback, anything, and I will pressing on the presentation mode. It should come up. Here it is. This is about me, which Marianne has already said. For me, I'm really proud of this book, which is the first time that assessors share their views and experience. And I'm proud of my organizational skills because I brought 37 MCC coaches together in this book to share how we see the performance of coaches, how we see coach behaviors coming up in sessions, how we assess. So what is our experience? That is my biggest achievement. So let's start with the most frequent mistakes that I noticed. And there are 14 of them. And I will kindly ask you to note which refers to you, which is the one that is more the one that you have to pay attention to make sure that you don't commit that mistake. So let's start with failing to ask about new insights and learnings. That is, coaching is about new insights. Coaching is about building new awareness. If you miss to ask this question, then obviously that is not the best, far from it, best coaching. Because what happens is that we get so enwrapped in finding a solution. There comes the client with an issue that we are eager to understand and to tackle, going into action, what the client will do otherwise, what the client will do differently, what is the change that the client will do. And in the meantime, we forget to check the learning. We forget to check the new awareness, the new insight, because we are very much into the solution mode. Then not agreeing on number 2, so just take a note of how you are. Maybe you can even play with that on a rating scale of 1 to 10, which is the one that applies to you most. This one I always ask the learning, so I'm a 10 at this. Next one, number 2, not agreeing on and exploring the expected outcome of the session. What also happens if anybody wants to, I don't see hands up, but please raise your hand and I'm happy to stop at any moment if you have a question. The expected outcome of the session. What happens is that the client is obviously talks about the topic, but we don't check where that there are in the chat box. I see something's coming up. Please help me with that, Mariano Gallit, if something I need to address because I don't see that. So what we do is we listen to the issue, but we don't check where the client wants to get during the session. And this is very important, not how there are some things coming up, Galit. Anything I need to address? Because I see 9, 10 points in the chat. Oh, people are marking. You're doing your
There's
marking.
a lot of sixes.
Oh, that's not good news. Dear, that's not good news. So let's go into that deeper if they're just 6s. Because again, but you can develop. That's what we are here to discuss what you need to do different in your session tomorrow. The outcome. Coaching is progress, going from A to B. If I don't know where the client wants to get by the end of the session, then how can I support the client in a real focused way? Or how can we make sure that we stick and we follow the subject that the client wants to take to a certain point? What is the outcome? Where? How shall we see that? How can we measure that? That's very important because we get enwrapped into the topic and we don't check the outcome. And it's very important that the outcome of the session we are checking, not the final solution to this problem, like how I can be a better presenter or a speaker or a better leader, because that's obviously a long development. It takes time, but how you want to develop in this specific coaching session to get to that outcome, which means what I can achieve, what's achievable, doable in a certain session. Then number 3, again, mark yourself. And I'm sorry I don't see that, but it's a self-reflection exercise, and I'll be happy if you share anything with me during the session or after the session at the end, anytime. Number 3, coach, not the client, defines a session topic, even it is based on what the client says. What happens here? The client comes in and start talking about an issue, a topic. And then we are good listeners, we attentive, we are curious, we hear what the client is saying. And we state, instead of the client, we are the ones who state what the topic of the session should be. Because I heard you, dear client. I'm hearing what you want to say. So is this really what you want to talk about? The best is if the topic comes from the client directly, not us summing it up, not us assuming it. Let us, the client. I've heard all that you said. In one sentence, what is the topic that you would like to focus on today? Simple as that. Let the client formulate it. No accountability is built into the session. At BCC level, this is expected to have accountability. And accountability is simply that who will know that you have done it? Who will know that you have completed it? This much is accountability. How can we notice and who is there to support you and checking that you've really done that? Number 5, keep up with your scoring. I love it. Though I don't see it, but this is at the end of the session, you can check which are those points, which are those mistakes that you need to work with, that you need to address in the future. The action plan is too vague or rushed at the end. I always teach that you have to have a strong, detailed contracting at the beginning. But at times we don't have the energy for the round off at the end. We don't know how the client will implement and who will be there to support. And this is when accountability also comes in the last section of the coaching. So what is the support? What are the obstacles that will hinder you? But obviously the obstacles are there to be asked in order to get them out of the way. Let's discuss how those obstacles will not be obstacles for us. So then obviously we can check how the learning is implemented. We can celebrate the work of the client in the session. We give acknowledgement. So all these things really are part of the ending, the last part of the coaching session. So don't rush them through, go into details about all these little things. The more details we discuss, the more likely that action or that whatever the client thought of during the session will be implemented, will be carried out, it will be real. Okay, so to make sure you spend time in the last part of the session, not mentioning the final part, which is the last, let's say, marker in PCC, is how the client wants to close the session. It's very important that we close the session with the permission of the client, not us one-sidedly deciding, time is up, sorry, we've discussed it all, goodbye. No, let's ask the client, first of all, how he or she wants to close the session, and what are the things that, and what is the permission from the client. How is that the client wants to close this session? Over a directive style, the coach talks too much. We say that the healthy amount, I'm at number 6, is that the coach talks about 80% of the time, okay, 75%. The client. The coach only talks 20 or 25% maximum. The client talks about 80, 75% of the time, so it's the majority. But even if and it's very easy to check. You just look at your transcript and you can see who talked much. But even if it comes out to 40% is that the coach talked and still 60 the client, it's not good enough. I should be around 80% the client, maybe 75, and the remaining 25% is that when the coach talks.
Judit, almost everybody here wrote number 6.
Oh, the overly directive side. So it means that's a challenge for everybody, or is it done? It's a challenge?
I assume.
Okay, so and just rate yourself. and look at your transcript. What is the percentage that you talked? Let me give you the other example or the other polarity here. I worked for 7 years at Henley Business School. I was assessing and mentoring. And there, Henley Business School is strong in teaching Nancy Klein's time to think. Time to think is really the approach or the framework where the client talks, and the coach listens. And we allow the client to think, to reflect, to go deeper, not being interrupted. But then, as an assessor, I see no coach interventions. If I don't see any coach interventions, then how can I market? Okay, so in your, again, everything we're doing here, and you're able to reflect on your work and on your whole coaching practice. Just check for yourself, how much is that I talk? Why do I talk so much? If Orta is pointing out to me that everybody pointed out that number 6 is it number that's an issue, yes? Number 6. Is that the number that everybody's grading 6, or is it 6 the item here that I'm mentioning? I'm talking about Orta.
The mistakes that you talked, we haven't asked for a number for now.
Okay, so all right, number 6, I'm talking about the directive style, and interested in how you rate yourself. Is that okay? What is the percentage that you say that you talk? The more you talk, the more influence you exert on the client. That's the relationship. Okay, every word that you say, it has an influence. Every communication has an influence. So that's why we are really appreciating short, powerful questions, open questions. But yeah, I come on to later. Here we are, no summaries or observation use. Yeah, I'm talking about number 7, very much to the point. At times, coaches only work with questions. Okay, we're looking for short, powerful questions, open questions. But there has to be room for observation. There has to be room for summaries. At the beginning, we frequently summarize what the client said in order to get an understanding of the topic or the issue. Observations can come at any point. When the client talks for long, it's our job to observe how the client is. Where is the client's energy level? What is the tone, the mood of the client? What are the words that the client is using, the pace of the client speaking? So there's so much we can observe: body signs, somatic signs. There is plenty of room for observations. But if we are always observed, then obviously we shall shift and we end up talking too much. Where do you find a healthy balance of talking as a coach, making interventions? Interventions like observations, summaries, they take up some space, or if you look at the transcript, you can see them. And then you have some short questions. What is the right balance? Okay. If you only work with questions, not good enough. If you only have long observations, using your own words, describing the client's situation or the issue itself, then you take up too much space. What is the healthy balance? That's the reflective question for you. And we come on to the next 14, next 7. So altogether 14 mistakes I raised. Coach fails to check acceptance or understanding of the giving feedback. If we make a feedback, we make an observation, very easily we can be categorical. I can see that you're tired. I hear that you're frustrated. I noticed that you were clenching your head, putting your hands together. So we make observations which can be very categorical. If we are too categorical, what are we? What can we be easily? We can be judgmental. We say, you're like this, you're like that. Those are passing a judgment, giving a firm opinion on what we see the client to be or how the client is. Basically, you have the right to your observations. I have my observation, but it doesn't mean that that's right and that I'm correct. It doesn't mean that I get the right impression of the client. So all observations should be ending by saying, am I correct? Do I see it well? What do you think about this? How do you feel with about my observation? So checking back with the client, Whether the client accepts it or rejects it, the client has the right to do with it whatever the client wants. And we have the right as coaches to share what we see, to support the client with an honest feedback, to be straightforward with the client. So it's our job to give some honest feedback to the client. I always describe the coach, my definition of the coach. The coach is somebody who wants the best for the client. That's who we are. The coach is the one who wants the best for the client. With this attitude, we have the right and we have the permission from the client, and we are empowered to share what we see. Because just imagine, maybe outside us, besides us, nobody else gives an honest opinion to the client. So we have the right, but we should always do it without an ego, because we may not be right. This is what we see, but it may not be so. In the markers, as with the BCC markers, there's a word without attachment. Whatever we notice, we work with that without attachment. Then we have time management. That's the issue. It's do we agree on the time that we shall coach? If we agree on the time then with the client and on the recording, for example, then let's stick to that, because it can happen that people go well beyond the time that they agreed on the recording, and that's not good time management. Time management is something, it's a very sensitive issue, because whenever we talk about time, like now we only have how much time we have? We have about an hour left. That can mean pressure. It can be pressure on me. I have to talk fast. I only have an hour left. Oh my God. Or our time can be a way of guidance, learning from the client, learning from you. We have an hour left. How would you like to use that? What would be the most beneficial use of that 1 hour that we have? Time gives us a sense of direction, gives us a purpose, gives us a priority list. So it's good to work with time, but I don't like those recordings when the coach says, we have 10 minutes left, we have 15 minutes left. Fine, but the next sentence should be, we have 15 minutes left. How would you like to use that? What would you like to do with that 15 minutes? Okay, so time management is there to guide us, to create an even closer partnering with the client on how to use the time available. Number 10, coach ends the session.
Judit,
Yes.
one time, a second. Ronnie asked if we are going to share the deck here after.
Sure, this part surely I can share with you, but I'm gonna go through this, then I take off the stop sharing, and I would like a discussion about this. Okay, because I know I feel very rushed, I go through quickly, and I definitely need your reflection. I need your questions. I need your self-assessment, how you assess yourself along these most frequent mistakes. Coach ends the session abruptly without consent. I already mentioned that when I talked about how to really spend good time in the closing part of the session, the last part of the session, when we agree on the next action. And surely we shall never end the session without the agreement, without the consent of the client. Number 11, no recognition of client work or growth during the session. What I teach and say that please, as a coach, in every coaching session, find a point, find something that you can acknowledge, that you can say very specifically, not just generally patting the client on his shoulder, but on their shoulders, but just simply saying that you did such a nice awareness building there, or I love that new idea that when you mentioned this, or how you stretch yourself in your thinking, how you answered several times the what else question, you always brought new ideas up. So let's have this positive attitude in all our coaching sessions. What is the thing that I can acknowledge the client in the 60 minutes, 30 minutes that we had together? Number 12, suggestive or closed questions are frequent. Well, we know that. At times when we get carried away, we think we have good ideas, then we are involuntarily, just subconsciously, we are leading the client with closed questions. I would like to hope that this is an ACC level mistake. At BCC, we don't fall into that trap. We realize if our IDs are kind of overwhelming and guiding us too much. Number 13, coach misses the new insight and the new idea of the client during the session. Okay, let's say that it's not one of your mistakes forgetting to ask about new awareness or new insight. It doesn't happen with you. But there is another way of working with new awareness is noticing it. Not just asking about it, but noticing, spotting when the client comes up with a new idea, with a new insight, something that the client just realizes. We hear it. I heard this several times in a session, and the coach just goes on with the next question without acknowledging that, without noticing that. It's very important that you have an ear for new ideas. I always say that's what we are paid for. We are paid for bringing new ideas, new solutions from the client. As soon as I hear a new idea, here's my check. No, yes, you can pay me. That's it. Because we've had some results. We had some new outcome of the session, new insight emerged. And the last one is number 14, which is very close to number 11, showing empathy or understanding for the client. We are very much taught that we should not cry together with the client because that's not the way a professional coach works. But the client comes in with an issue, which is painful for them, which is difficult for them. And they relate this issue. They tell you, we have to have some understanding, some empathy for the client. I mean, that's the basic of our coaching. They have a difficult situation that they would like to solve. And for us, showing understanding or empathy for that difficult situation is a major, let's say, coach behavior. It's one of it's an attitude, it's a coaching mindset, how we relate to the client. Showing empathy, showing understanding. In the ICF markers, we use the word concern. I don't like the word concern because the client is capable and able and creative. The client is whole and good as he or she is. But understanding and empathy, there's always room for that. So these are the 14. I quickly go back to the beginning. And I would like to just have a glimpse at them, and then we come back to the plenary because I would love to have a discussion with you. I would love to hear your views. Which one is a challenge for you? Or which is the one to be positive? Which you just mastered. You just done it. Yeah, last time in the session with my client, I was really good at showing empathy or understanding. I have beautiful observations in my sessions, and I make sure I don't overdo them. And I always check how the client feels about them. Remember, the role of observations is to take the coaching session to a deeper level. To take it to a deeper level. That's the role of observation. Not showing how clever I am and how attentive I am and how much I am present because I noticed this and that. No, I would like you to, what I noticed, dear client, I would like to explore that. I would like you to take you to that other depths. All right, let me just stop the sharing. I know all this sharing back and forth takes time, but it's very important that we have a dialogue, and I need your reflections. I'm not talking at you, I'm talking with you. We have a discussion together. I would like if you could share which were the challenges for you, which is the ones that I'm really good at because that's my strengths. That's also fine. Talking about strengths and not just the weak points. Thank you, Sania or Sanya. Yeah, please help me with the names. I apologize. You said 7, and I see
Sana.
7. Sana, thank you. Would you
Yeah.
like to share with me? I don't remember.
Oh, yes, I can. My
Thank
English
you.
not perfect, I'm sorry. But when I was a
It's okay.
newbie, one newbie coach, yeah, it was mistakes, a lot of mistakes in one point. It became in my experience from Ericsson School. Yeah. And in the second page, in the
And this
SSM
was 7. Which was 7? Please remind me. Which was number 7?
It was for previous for CCE credits. Yeah.
Oh, but what was the number 7? What was that
For me?
competence? Yeah, no, here in the presentation,
To
what is
confirm
you had an issue?
participation. To confirm participation, just to put
Yeah.
7 to confirm that you
It's a
participate.
different, yeah.
For the CCE.
Okay, but here, what was in my slide? What was number 7? Was it is it the one that you
Number
had?
7 was no summaries or observation used.
Thank you
Continue
very
work the
much.
question.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. That's all. Sanat,
Madam
is that
Sebashan.
Yeah.
Sanat, is that an issue for you? Number 7 then? It's observations or summaries?
For me, no problem in any of these points of in now
That's
time.
good.
Yeah, but I not about 7. I wrote in the chat about 10 and 11 points.
Okay.
It's very common mistakes, even sometimes for MCC coaches, as I heard.
Okay, 10 is coach ends the session abruptly without consent. It is quite a frequent. And which was the other one that you mentioned?
Hmm?
Which was the other one that you mentioned? You mentioned number 10 was an issue for you, or coach ends the session abruptly without consent. What was the other one?
11.
11, which is no recognition of client work or growth during this. Yeah,
It's
beautiful.
markers 8.9 and 8.8. Yes, I understand that you don't see the chat. Yeah,
Oh, no, I don't see the chat,
I
so I would like
understand.
to hear it from you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Thank you, Sana. Yeah,
Okay.
and you know, and as I said, there are too many numbers. One is that how you mark yourself, how you rate yourself, what is your self-reflection, and the other is which point do you refer to of those 14? Yeah, so there are, yeah, it could be quite confusing, but thank you very much for sharing. Yes, Shalom.
Yeah, hi everybody. I think it's a big difference between my clients who are like life coaching clients and those who are leadership clients.
Beautiful.
So if I have parents that are interested in parenting issues with schools, it can go on. They have no problem with time. Keeps on going. Homework, they do it. I mean, they're accountable for it, and we can work it out. When it comes to executives and the fellows like that, though, I think they all have ADHD, and I think they're all. It's so interesting. They're all time. They and the accountability to get something done to actually do it. It's really that they actually do the homework, and I can't get the accountability into them. And as far as the time is concerned, I'm lucky if I get 41 minutes, you know, and
I love it.
Really what the challenge is. I think like all 14 almost when it comes to those types of clients, you really have to work on very, very hard. On the other hand, all 14, when it comes to the life coach clients, like the parenting stuff and those types of things, that goes very smooth and it goes, you know, it goes as long as it has to go, and it's good. There's accountability. They want to grow, etc. So it's interesting, you know. Even the coaches, even the leadership coaches who are coming, I deal mostly with principals, and it's so hard for them to make time for it. It's really hard. They're so busy, and they don't want to do it in the evening. They want to do it, you know, dafka by during the school time, and it just that's stuff that happens, and things happen in between. A student can come in the middle of the coaching session, you know. So there's a lot going on. It's hard to really maintain the full coaching thing. So you do the best you can, and of course you are. There's a lot of there is teaching involved, teaching leadership skills, and working through that way. And that's just an observation that I have.
Thank you very much, Shalom. I love the comparison. It's also lots of learning for me. What's the difference between, let's say, life clients and business clients? That's beautiful. Fantastic. Good to hear. And please keep in mind that I'm sure you all do good coaching. What I'm talking about is, you know, preparing for an ICF exam. That's my specialty. That's where I come from. You know, ticking the boxes when I assess. And that's the job I have to do, is checking all these parameters. So I'm always approaching everybody and all my presentation from this point of view. And
we have to remember to send you the life coaching ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the issue is here is that I always also say that you coach well and be aware of what is your coaching style. As you beautifully said, I coach differently when I coach life clients and when I coach business clients. You're aware of the differences. But be aware of what is required when you want to coach according to the ICF competencies. And those can be completely different. And you aware when you are along the ICF route and when you're not along that because your client requires something else. It's all fine. Everything is fine. My goal is to get more and more credentialed coaches who really strengthen the core of our profession, because our coaching is still there. We have to have our position in among the trades and industries of globally. And for that's why the ICF parameters are there. But absolutely everybody's fine as you coach, as your clients require, as long as hopefully don't give advice, because that is not coaching. But how much time you spend in the beginning or at the ending part, and I love that you mentioned time management and accountability, and they don't do the homework, so they don't prepare for the next session. What I would also maybe advise is just try to have a discussion about the patterns that you notice in their behaviors. Hold a mirror. Okay, we get always some jobs that we get to have done because that's what the client wants, an issue. But at times we go up on the helicopter or we go up the balcony and we look at what's happening here between us. What's happening between coach and client, how we are working together, how the time pressure, how's the no homework, no preparation. You don't see the value in coaching. I love challenging my clients. I have to tell you that I think I lose the most chemistry sessions in the world. And you know why? Because I'm very tough on my clients. I tell them that if you don't do the homework, I kick you out. Not you kick me out, I kick you out. At the end of the day, our success is your success. If you don't invest the time and energy into your own development, into what you need to excel, I'm there to support you, but I can't do it instead of you. And if you're not going to put the work in there and you're not going to develop, I'll be never a successful coach. Come on, my life is about success, just like yours. If I don't get the success through your success, then what am I here for? Money, it doesn't give me that much happiness if we are not successful in developing you. So I'm very tough on my clients because, again, this is the responsibility. Whose life is it? Your life or my life or their lives? And then
I'm at the
yes.
stage of telling my clients, or any new onboarding a client rather, when I start with a new one, I would tell them, listen, first I'm at the stage of charging more, number one. Number two, at the stage of really telling them, listen, this is the conditions, it's in the contract of what I expect. If you can't do it, I have other people waiting. That type of a line and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at the stage of doing things like that. But, another thing is I think it's really important to get them out of school. That's really important. To meet them someplace in, I don't know what we have in Israel, some cafe or something. In America, I just went to a Starbucks. No Starbucks here, right? We have similar things. We have similar things. But, I think that's really an important piece, that get them off.
Great. And what's important, us sharing our experience here. So thank you for all that you shared, because we can learn from that and take that on. Great. So what I also learned from from Marshall Goldsmith's system is that there has to be pain and urgency. If the client doesn't have pain or urgency, that's not going to be successful coaching. And if you look at it according to the ICF competencies and the PCC markers, that's my specialty, the PCC markers, then if you look at 3.3, which is say, why is this important for you today? Why do you want to handle this topic today? So there we are looking for the pain and the urgency. Why the client wants to have this coaching session. So these are the important connections between, let's say, what we do, coach behaviors, and how the ICF competencies and markers work to support those coach behaviors which are desired when we work with clients. So thank you very much for sharing that. More sharing, please, before we go on to.
I didn't say.
Thank you, Yossi. Thank you. I see you.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
So I didn't say you put in the 14 top mistakes. I didn't say under the evoke awareness, the top mistake that we tend to coach the issue instead of coaching the person.
That is still coming. That's in my other other presentation, because what you talk about, Yossi,
Okay.
that's the overall umbrella. That's
Okay.
the system. I was
That's-
talking about the tiny little details, the little details that
Okay.
ICS and Assessor, then if you take note of, you can change tomorrow. This big perspective, the big picture that you say, coaching the problem or coaching the issue and the what and the who, the client,
Yeah.
those are overall issues, umbrella on top of all that. Thank you for raising it. It's still coming. But I
And
would
one
like
more
Yes,
thing. You
go
said
ahead.
that you will kick your client out if he will not do his homework. When I design alliance with my client at the beginning, how do you want me to be with you? I'm asking him when you will not. And they are telling me, kick me out or be tough on me or something like that. And I invite them, let's be curious and let's celebrate failing, because you learn that some way is not working for you. Let's explore what is working for you. And yes, to be kind of tough instead of in a way that to enroll, to engage the client for his commitment. I don't agree to stay and to be in coaching relationship with someone that is not committed. So this is obvious. Yet when he doesn't do homework assignment, his assignment that he take on himself. So let's explore what works.
Beautiful. What resonates here with me was what you are saying, and also what Shalom said. It's designing alliance. I love the expression that you used. And contracting well. Contracting for the homework, contracting at the beginning of what's going to happen here.
Exactly.
Because Shalom, you use the over contracting, how we work with the client overall. But the thing is how we work with the client in every session, we contract for that. So we are professional contractors. We are professional trust builders. There's so many things that we are good at. I hope you all realize what are our strengths as coaches, what we do really well. Contracting, and I'm happy for questions. Just raise your hand, or if you want to give more comments. I love the discussion, and then I move on to the next things. But yes, the contracting part is, I find it to be the most important. And there are four things in line with Yossi, what you mentioned, how we contract for collaboration, work together. I say that we contract for the homework. Obviously, the homework is that the client will determine, but in principle, we agree that every time there will be a homework. You will state it, you will set it for yourself, dear client, but there has to be a homework. I also contract for interrupting, permission to interrupt, permission to go into sensitive areas if it emerges, and permission to challenge for all these things. And then obviously when the situation emerges, I can refer to our previous contract, but there on the spot, I have to check it again if it still applies. Maybe we agreed on sensitive issues, but not today. Please, not today. Today, let's not go into sensitive issues. Okay, because I'm not in the mood, I'm not set for that. So these are the pre-agreements in general, and then the contract for the session, and obviously contract for the whole coaching engagement. What's going to happen, how long we shall work together, what are the set of rules, as Shalom said, where is the location where we shall meet, the time that we have available for our session. There's so many things we need to agree, and I would like to call your kind attention to these things, because these things make us professional. This is why coaching is not an easy chit-chat, but it's a professional engagement. Because we contract, we agree, we have set rules, expectations, and requirements. We have all that. Any more comments before I move on to the next things? As Yossi said, I'll be covering those, absolutely. If there are more questions, I love every comment and input, and that's how we build a community and we learn from each other. And I'm grateful for being here in the present. I'm not a big believer of recordings. I always check myself. When was it the last time I listened to a recording? I always go for live sessions, for interactions, for meeting and hearing your views. I love that. So that's why I'm grateful that you're here and you're spending your time. So I want to make sure it's useful for you. So at any time, please feel free to interrupt. And I do apologize. I see the big numbers going on in the chat, but please, Mariana, help me if anything I need to pay attention to in the chat, because I'm just not there. Galitio, I'm too busy watching your faces and seeing who would like to take the floor. Beautiful people. Thank you very much. Okay, great. So
We are
that's
watching the chat. It's
Pardon?
okay. We are watching the chat. It's okay.
Thank you. I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
May
And
I
please,
ask one question, Judith?
sure.
It's Suzette. You said
Thank you,
that
Suzette.
the contract about permission to interrupt or to go into sensitive
Areas.
areas. Do you do it at the starting point?
Yes, Suzette, a great question, because that is not on the recording. I only came up with this because Yoshi mentioned the Design Alliance, and I love that expression, and that brought out this information from me. But what I'm focusing here, and as I mentioned, my experience, what we hear on a coaching recording that is submitted to ICF. That's my specialty. Being an ICF assessor since 2013, that's what I'm focusing on. Practical, small picture, then we zoom out to the big picture, what you have to be mindful, and that's it. Okay, Amanda, I understand. Okay, you're still here. Good. All right, so that's my approach. That's how I'll give it, because preparing for you, and I had another presentation to a group in Belgrade last week, and I have another one coming up in India. There's so much around this topic and coaching. And as we discussed, Mariana said, the new competencies are out. We can approach it from this point of view. We can approach it from the minimum skill requirements that are required at each level. My approach is what I hear and see on a recording that is submitted for ICF exam. Okay, I think that's my, to make it clear, that's how I approach these things. Okay, and that's how I can be helpful to you. Yes, go ahead.
May I
Thank you very
also
much.
ask a
Thank you so much.
question, not as a host of this webinar, as a participant, please? The question is as following. As an assessor for ICF, let's say, how would you describe broadly the balance in the session between the open question and the summary, which
Great.
bring to the session in order to be a great session for PCC? And what is the difference between this one relatively to MCC session?
A beautiful question. Great. And I wouldn't just add summaries here. I would also add, Mariana, if it's okay with you, the observations, because these are longer statements. The summaries, the difference between summary and observation. Summaries, I use the words of the client. I simply play back the words that I hear. It's like we have a wall echoing those back to me, and I'm a client. I'm listening. Did I say this? Did I mean it? What do I mean by this? This is confirming I heard you, confirming kind of a checklist of what's been said to see what is the next direction that we could select. Summaries are good for taking stock of all the issues that have come up, and afterwards offering it up to the client. Where shall we go? Which one shall we select? Which one do you want to focus on? So that's the point. You should, again, just to sticking to summaries, you should differentiate between summaries when I, as a coach, summarize, and when I ask the client to summarize. And the reflection for you is, at what stage in the coaching do I summarize as a coach, and when do I ask my client to summarize in a session? Okay, I'm not going to answer this because there are so many issues I could talk. You invite me next time, I'll come back. Okay, Mariana, there's so much we can talk about.
Okay, no problem. So just okay, go on. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, play with this notion. What is the right time for me to summarize? What I think the most wasted time to summarize is the client comes in and they say, they talk about an issue. And the coach, I think a bad coach, starts playing back what the client said. And I say, what's the point? I don't know what the issue is yet. This is not a memory game that I have to remember what the client said. I don't know, what is the essence there. All I have to show is that I understand how the client is. When the client comes in and talks at the beginning, just make sure you get an impression of how the client is. Where is the energy level? What is the body language telling me? What is the pacing? What is the tone, the tonality? That's the only thing that is relevant when the client, tells you a story. I used to be an interpreter, way back, and I visited a beautiful country with delegations, Hungarian delegations. I'd even tell you when it was. It was the late 80s, long, long, long time ago. But that was, I used this when I was a beginner coach. I used to show off. I remember everything you said, and I kept playing it back. There's no point to that. You just allow the client to tell their story. You're a good listener. You check how the client is. You make an observation of showing your understanding. I understand that all these issues are on your mind and so many things have coming up. Would you kindly summarize for me what we should be focusing on now? And then the client summarizes, and then you confirm and you work with that. And then when the client summarizes or states the issues, and then you really feel now we're getting to the focus, this is when you summarize. Then you come and you summarize. I heard that these are the issues that we shall be covering. Then you summarize. Towards the end or in the middle part, when the client comes up with solution possibilities, then you ask the client to summarize. That's a way of acknowledging. I heard so many great ideas from you emerging. Would you please sum them up where we are now? With your solution possibilities, with your ideas, where are we now? Yeah, play. And then the client summarizes. Observations are when I use my intuition, I use whatever it's in my head, my whole being as a coach, and I make an observation. The observations and even the summaries, which are ending in a full stop, these are not question marks at the end, but full stop. A point is checking, am I correct? Did I hear you well? Did I see it well? Is what you say about my impressions or what I noticed? How do you see that? Are opportunities to take the conversation to a deeper level. Those are observations for. And bring in your intuition here, what is there, what is not said, not just what's said, what's not said, what the body language tells you, what the emotions tell you, and play it back gently, politely, and in a permissive way, because at the end you can be wrong. That's okay. If you don't resonate with what I see, but that's what I see. And then as a good coach, you drop it. If the client doesn't accept it, you drop it. You don't force it, but if it's a repeated pattern that the client never accepts the way you see things, also work with that. Work with that pattern. Like we work with the pattern that Shalom said, that no homework, never homework done. Accountability is not accepted. Play them back. Nicely and politely play them back. The client has to be able and capable of taking I'm not saying critical remark, taking our feedback, because we have the best of intentions at our heart. The coach is the one who wants the best for the client. That's our definition. Okay, can I move on because I love this, but I have so many presentations still to share with you. Okay, so let me go on, and the presentation till it comes up always takes some time. Okay, can you see it? Tell me, indicate when you can see it.
Not yet.
Yeah. It's okay now, yes?
Okay, now we can see.
Oh, that's an awful echo.
Who
Can
is?
you
You see, you need to close your
Yeah,
second
I'm going to do it for
device.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try it now,
Is
Judith?
it better? Yes, yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It's done. Beautiful. Okay, so as coaches develop, and here we come, this is just a note. Here we come the big changes from ACC to PCC MCC. Transactional versus transformational. Transactional is the ACC. When we get something done, we find a solution to a problem. And transformational at BCC and definitely at MCC understands the root causes and the whole person to go beyond the quick fixes. Okay, so who is the client and what's there? And the root causes is not a psychological act. So if we don't go into therapy, we just understand what makes the client to be who the client is, and we work with that. We create transformation there, or do something that will make life easier for the client as a human being. Okay, for the whole of the can. ACC and BCC and MCC, how it looks, the what versus the who. The what, the versus the who. This is what we are talking about here. And at ACC is problem focused. We come with the intention, the client has a headache, and we want to solve that. As coaches, we are very supportive, and our intention is that find a solution. There is a structure and tools to solve the immediate challenges. And the structure is, we have a good coaching agreement, then we go into understanding the issue, discussing the possibilities, finding new awareness, and closing the session. Like the GROW model we all learned at the very beginning. There's a structure that followed at ACC. At BCC, we have to balance the problem and the person because they're already the person, the who of the client comes into the picture. We move beyond the surface to uncover patterns and causes. We just discussed previously there are patterns in the client's behavior that we can work with. We can identify and explore if the client finds it relevant. And we build awareness and sustainable strategies. So we not just as we grow in awareness, we develop as a person. We not only find a solution for this one case, but we find a solution which applies in other similar situations in our life. And then MCC level is deeply person-focused. Who is the client in relation to this challenge? And it goes to the root of identity, values, being, so not just the problem. The biggest challenge to come in to become an MCC coach, but you can already practice at the PCC level, is to have questions where you get a deeper understanding of who the client is. Transformation comes from shifts in mindset and self-perception, not solutions. So transformation is when the client sees things differently, adopts a different mindset, a different self-perception of who I am as a person, not just a one-time solution. And the difficulty is when I'm running an MCC level training program, ICF accredited level 3, is how to take the conversation to that level, to the MCC level, from an issue. An issue is always there. Or how get clients who are willing to bring in their being to a session and willing to work on that to make it to be an MCC level coaching. The next one is an overall global issue is going from the subjective to the objective approach. Coach often takes client story at face value. So it's more subjective of, that's what I experienced as a client. Works with thoughts, immediate thoughts, feeling, express needs, there in the moment what the client feels. Limited detachment from emotions. So we're very much enwrapped in this, focusing on helping to manage the emotions. And this here already at the ACC level is the role of the coach to try to distance themselves from these emotions. While we are in there when we are working with that, but still, let's say, as I mentioned earlier today, is not to cry together with the client, but to have a more, let's say, detached attitude. And then the PCC, our client is observing beliefs and emotions with some distance. So we are trying to have this distance which gives us the objectivity at the MCC level. The coach holds space for the client to view their experience with deep objectivity and detachment. Client can observe emotions and beliefs as information, not identity. This I'm reading the MCC lines at the bottom. So these are informations, and we don't accept them to be fully there at the root. They're not identity, but we have to work with these beliefs. and to see how they impact the identity of the client or not. But anyway, they are there. We are working at that level. Leads to profound transformation. I'm more than my story. I choose who I relate to. So it's what I find the challenge here is to put a structure. MCC coaching should also have some structure, a structure like there's good contracting and obviously continuous contracting and continuous awareness building. But there's progress from A to B because the client evolves, the client develops. When I listen to some MCC coaching, it can very easily be navel glazing. We're just analyzing for the sake of analyzing things. So where is the issue that where we can change and transform and be a different person? Solution focused versus awareness focused. As I mentioned that here at the ACC, we want to solve something. So how can we get rid of this problem? Because we feel then this is when a coaching session will be successful if the client solves a certain issue. We find options for the client, next steps, immediate results. What is the measure of success, which is already something that is very much BCC level. But here at BCC, success, solving something, also carries some learning. So action and learning are coupled at the PCC level. What do you notice about how you approach this problem? Supports explorations of perspectives and choices. At the MCC level, it's deeply awareness focused. Who are you in this situation? What is shifting? That's a constant word that is in an MCC coaching. What is shifting here? What is changing? Transformation comes from expanded self-understanding, not just solutions. It's how I understand myself, of who I am, and not just how I solve some transactional issue. So they can be very deep, but how can they be, how should I say, still be made tangible? If we're talking big words and phrases and it's very difficult to translate them in a way that they show transformational progress and a better understanding. So at MCC, we're kind of exploring almost every word that comes up. What do you mean by this? How does that show up?
Judit,
yes.
Excuse me. In Israel, we might have a siren in a few minutes, so don't panic. We will run and come back in 10 minutes if it happens.
Okay, thank you, Nakum. I wish you, best of whatever comes up, or hopefully nothing comes. Okay, so and I'll be here whenever you come back. I'm here, Galit. You tell me, or we can have another session, arrange something. I'm at your disposal.
Judit, it's not everywhere in Israel. I mean, we don't have here in the announcement, and you just keep the session.
I keep going. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just keep going. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We will tell you if we need to go for 10 minutes, but you can continue now. Some people has to do here preparation only to close their rooms. I don't know. So
okay, all right. Thank you for telling me. Thank you. Again, we're talking about progress and from ACC, finding a solution at PCC is already building in, asking what have you learned here about yourself? What have you learned about the situation? The awareness comes into the picture. And then at MCC, it's awareness all through. At PCC, we have awareness towards the 2/3 of the session, and at the very end, checking the new learning. At MCC, there's awareness from the beginning. As the client is shifting, even with the topic, as the client talks, new thinking, new ideas emerge, there can be a shift. As the shift comes up, we're always checking for new awareness. What is the new awareness? What is the new idea that's emerging here? When there's a shift, obviously, there's new awareness, new learning. So MCC awareness, checking awareness throughout the session. And now I come to the last part of my presentation today, which is about the guiding principles in coaching mastery. So we talked here about let me just recap. Here we talked about the transformational to transactional. We talked about the what versus the who. We talked about subjective approach versus objective approach, as we are distancing ourselves because we have a better view on the issue and not
The
taking
slide
it
is
all.
blank, Judit.
I know, because I'm just summing up. And I will, because before I go into the next section, I want to sum up
Okay, sorry.
what we looked at it. Thank you, Nahum, for telling me. Thank you, it's fine. So, and the last one is the solution focus versus awareness focus. So transactional, transformational, what versus who, solution focus versus awareness focus, and subjective versus more objective. So these were these were the things that I went back to. Actually, I'm just showing that before I came on to the 4 guiding principles. So we talked about the most frequent mistakes. I collected 14 of them, and now we talked about the development course from ACC to PCC to MCC coach. And now we're talking about the 4 guiding principles in coaching mastery. So what we are doing from a zoom in to little practical corrections of our coaching, what we can do better tomorrow, we go into the whole system, which enwraps this coaching. And these 4 principles are partnering in every ICF coach competency or markers or bars. There's the word partnering. That is the favorite word, partnering everywhere. The coach offers presence, curiosity, and support, not solutions. That is, we are partnering with the client while the client does all this work in the session, how the client develops in the session. Then we go into, so we're looking for an assessor. We look for a coach who is able to co-create conditions with the client and leading the client to empower instead of directing the client. So we are our lead. It's not a lead. It's our encouragement for the client to come into such an empowerment, such a state of empowering where the client can take their own decisions. Okay, that is partnering, for the client to be able and capable of taking their own decisions, partnering. Then comes co-creation. That partnering, co-creation, coaching is not delivered to the client, it's created with the client in the moment. So we are doing it together, co-creating the session with all the coaching agreements, partnering and co-creating on the topic, how we work with that, what will happen. Like co-creation, what Shalom mentioned is our Yoshi mentioned the design or alliance. That is all co-creation and partnering with the client. Then comes responsiveness. I love that. In coaching, we work with what the client offers. We work with what the client offers. The client brings in words, knowledge, information, needs, beliefs, and we work with that. We hear that, and then we explore that further. We interpret it, making it into an observation. We ask a powerful question because we are interested in more details around what the client offered. So in coaching, we work with what the client offers that makes us responsive, working there with the words of the client, with the energy level of the client, with the silence, with the emotions of the client. All that the client brings in, be full of sensing and receptive to that. And as assessor, we are looking for a coach who responds to the whole person, not just to the content. So the whole person is the being of the client, with the beliefs, with the values, with the perceptions, emotions, and the topic, the issues, the environment, the situation that the client finds himself or themselves to be in. And then intentionality. As I mentioned, our coach behaviors is all intentional. We've learned it. We know how we should behave. What are the intentions? The intentions obviously there to support the client, But the intention is that we master the coach behaviors and we apply them in the moment when they are needed. We're working with the coach behaviors intentionally, not by accident, because that occurred to us, but this is our intention, to use silence, give reflection space, to reframe, give new perspectives, and invite the client to find new perspectives. And as an assessor, we recognize when the coach is purposefully applying these behaviors. So we know there's a purpose for the client stop talking and we don't intervene, we don't interject, we just hold the silence because we do it on purpose, not because we are not clever, we wouldn't know what to do. We know what to do, but on purpose we are waiting for the client to continue talking or continue thinking. There is a sentence saying that when I not interrupt, but I even, interrupt obviously very bad, but if I interject right away when the client finishes talking, then why do I think that my thoughts and my ideas are more important than what is happening in the head of the client? Why would I think that? That I know better, I have a better question, a better reflection than what is running in the head of the client, why the client is not talking. Even when the client is not talking, there's serious thinking going on. And when I hold a silence, I respect the serious thinking which is happening in the head of the client. I just wait in silence, allow the client to be thinking. And another idea is that silence is not equal with not interrupting. Silence is not equal with not interrupting, no interruptions. No. No, not at all. So, and that was the last one. And here where you can find me, if you kindly contact me on LinkedIn, I would be happy so that we can be in touch. And the BCC community, that's the bottom of my heart. And I just want to show this and then take off the presentation and just be us and continue this discussion. We still have 15 more minutes for that. So I would love to hear your views, your takeaways. But I also kindly would love to be in touch with you if you contact me on LinkedIn or join the BCC community. We have great events. And I have to share with you that my latest obsession is AI. AI and MCC coaching, these two, they go hand in hand, but we have to work with both of them. It's a world where we have to go for excellence, coach excellence, keep on learning, and going from ACC to PCC, from PCC to MCC. And also we need to learn to work together with AI. I have an AI community on the BCC Community platform. BCC stands for Becoming a Credentialed Coach, like the book I showed you, which I did together with Jonathan Passmore and 37 colleagues. Dalia is from Israel. She was involved in this book. She contributed to this. Dalia is also a fantastic professional, great coach and lady. So, and as I said, 37 colleagues from, I think, over 40 countries. So that was also a beautiful global exercise. But the BCC community platform emerged from that, and I offer free programs. We have a book launch tomorrow, coming with Peter Hawkins and with Joel from ICF, the vice president, Di Girolamo, and he will be talking about AI and coaching, how they go hands in hand. So it's a book launch, but it's free. But otherwise, the BCC communities,
It's
AI.
amazing community. I have to tell you, because I'm there and I am grateful for it. And I told you it a lot of time, Judith. Thank you. It's an amazing
Thank you,
space
Anna.
for learning.
And Suzette is there, is Amanda is there.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for you coming to this event as well, although you hear me all the time, and I hope I could still say some new things for you. So
Of
there
course.
we have the Coach Forward Club, which is focusing on AI, learning about the AI platform and those who provide AI coaching or AI augmented coaching. I'm learning a lot about this, and that has a membership of 100 euros for a whole year. The Coach Forward Club with the program of Masters of AI Coaching. And we have book launches, those are free, and master classes. The next master class is on the 18th of September. It's about how to coach around trauma. is the trauma. Is it for therapy or as coaches? How do we work with trauma? That's a free masterclass. And then I have the Get Credentialed package where Altar is there and Suzette and Amanda, and the Get Credentialed is supporting you towards your next credentialed, be it PCC or MCC. That's an annual program with different MCC coaches coming and doing demos. And I have the Stay Credentialed package, which is all about getting your credential renewed, which is a really good price. €375 for a whole year to get 30 CCUs. So that's again a very rich program. So I'm coming from that part of the world where I make sure that coaching has to be and learning has to be affordable. So that's why also my mission. So I hope you join the BCC community and find me on LinkedIn. And now let's come back to what we've learned. I was just checking if you still remember what I talked about 5 minutes ago. This is the whole aim of doing some marketing, and now back to knowledge sharing and experience. And what is your takeaway? And the time is yours. I'll be quiet now. What are your takeaways? Ideas that you want to share that you like, that was novel maybe, or something that you want to hear more about or explore further? Take off your mute sign. You don't even have to put your hands up. Just start talking.
You
Join
did.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Nahum.
Yeah. First of all, thank you very, very much. We have to be very good students because it was high speed.
Yes.
But it was very interesting. Thank you so much. I was wondering if perhaps I missed it, or you did not focus on the more than the spoken word and the possible what's expressed not in words and in the body and all of that.
Body language, somatic coaching, yes.
Correct. All
Intuition,
of that.
that's also in our soul, what's happening. Absolutely. You didn't miss it. I didn't talk about it. There's so much I could still talk. I have several presentations where I have more details of each competency, what it looks like at the ACC, PCC, MCC level. I have that. And of what you said, I don't have any speaker. I have somebody on Enneagram and ICF Competencies speaking on the BCC platform later on this year, maybe in November. But I don't have anything on the somatic science. We haven't spoken on that. I don't have a program. I understand that's also quite an important topic, how we work with that. As I mentioned, as an ICF assessor, I work with audio recordings. I listen to the voice, the tone, tonality, and obviously I hear about the body language if the coach remarks on that. And when I mentor coach, obviously we just listen to a coach who's very, very, let's say, focused on picking up body signs, sensing what's happening. That's very important, and I'm glad you raised it. But it's a separate category in itself. There's so much can be said about it, about body language.
Would you be able to say at least one sentence about your perception regarding with the polyvagal theory in coaching?
Sorry?
Vagus nerve polyvagal theory in coaching.
I'm not knowledgeable on that.
Okay.
Sorry, Nahum. I don't know that. There was a great comment in the chat, somebody recommending a book on somatic language, somatic coaching. I didn't read it all, but if you want to check it, maybe it's useful for you. No, I don't have knowledge of what you said. I'm not specializing in that.
Thank you.
My area.
Nochem, could you give a one sentence thing?
Yes.
What is that?
Oh, I got one sentence from her, but it's not the sentence I wanted.
Okay, takeaways from those who I haven't heard before. Please just share. Thank you,
Judit.
Lydia. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, very generous of you. It was very great presentation. My takeaway, I think it's very useful if anybody, one takeaway is try always to focus on the person versus the problem you're trying to solve. Like this is really, I don't know, this is takeaway I'm taking. So whatever is the real issue, because I'm very goal-oriented, result-oriented person. So whenever I have a coaching session, I tend to, like a bulldog, like jump on it and, help brainstorm and help uncover the solutions. What else? So I can be really helpful uncovering the solution, but one thing I'm taking away, what if I step back and not just micromanage, but look at what does it tell about the way the person approach or even formulate the problem, and then the approach the problem, what does it say about the person, and how can that be bigger learning, a bigger transformation, inviting the client into the bigger dialogue about that. That is.
Thank you, Galidia. That's a great takeaway. May I ask you, are you going on the ICF credentialing journey anyway? Are you intent on that? Sorry if it's a too big a question.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I got my coaching degree in 2017, so I've been in coaching for a while.
Good. So then it's to go for the who. It's very, very important,
Yeah,
a bigger picture, look at the whole system.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, absolutely.
Experiment with that, reflect afterwards how you did, what came up, how it's ask the client. I have a lazy coach model. It's just, I'm not really, I used to be a consultant before I became a coach. I decided I work too much, and the coaching is not me doing the work, but the client. So even ask the client after the session how it served the client. So it's not you have to decipher, what happened here, but how it felt.
Yeah.
I think everybody is basically happy, I feel in general, when we are allowed to talk about ourselves and somebody listens to us. Not just what my problem is, but who I am, what concerns me, what are the main issues for me in my life. I think people are happy to talk about them. It feels good for somebody to be listening to us and being interested in us.
Yeah.
That's
But
a
seeing
great
the
thing.
trees, seeing the forest beyond the trees, again,
Yes.
that's what I'm taking away from this presentation.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you. More sharing, please.
Thank you so
About
much
this.
for today. I'm sorry, someone else?
Yes, thank you, Linda. Yes, I can see you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I really was especially interested in the step from PCC to MCC because it's a big step in my opinion. And so I really enjoyed how you made the comparison and you gave some tips and hints and how to work on it and what to pay attention to. I found that very helpful for me and it's a good takeaway. And I have some notes that are for me a focus on to work on to improve as a coach. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, Linda. If you want to come on to the BCC at the Get Credential program, we talk about these different stages.
Wonderful.
It's not just MCC because the MCC program is something separate, but we are talking about progress. We're talking about development, and there is MCC at the end. That has to be there for us because AI is pushing us to go towards MCC. That's our way. That's our way. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. Yes, Sania. You had your hand up. Yeah, Sania and then Raya. Oh, I'm so glad.
Sana.
Exactly. Sana. Sorry.
Sana. It's
Sana.
normal.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm very. I want to say so. Thank you for you because you gave me some idea for my chapter, what they maybe need. Yeah. Thank you. And one more comment for Nahim. I know about polyvagal theory, and I meet it firstly in the 2021 in Coaches Rising. In this year in Pocket Project. You could find it in Google or ask me later. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
It's very interesting, but it's from my hypnotherapist community.
Thank you. It's such a relief for me that if it's related to hypnotherapy, then it's understandable why I don't know anything about it. Thank you. It's a relief. But Sana, I'm very happy to go and support your chapter as well. If you want to invite me with translation, I'll be happy to help you
Thank you so
support
much.
your
Yeah.
coaches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm director of event in Ukrainian chapter.
I'm happy. I'm all for you. I mean, don't think of the Hungarian government, forget them. But I'm there, happy to support you. Just reach out to me, find me on LinkedIn or wherever. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Raya. Hello. Thank you for raising your hand.
Hi, Judith. So thank you so much for this amazing session. I really enjoyed and took a lot for myself. And I want to jump into your club or your community and ask some question for for people who want to develop themselves from PCC to MCC. We are now thinking about creating course and course for mentorship or course for supervision. So what do you recommend?
Mentoring is working on your coaching skills. That's what I'm expert at. Supervision is working on your coach being, on who you are as a coach. It's not so much on your coaching skills, not so much on the coach behaviors, but how you perceive yourself, how you see yourself, what are your blocks, how you want to develop as a coach your own being. That is the who of the coach. The what is the skills, how you work. That's what I work with. I work with the coaching skills. I'm happy to help you. As I said, I have several programs, longer, shorter, towards MCC. I believe in MCC and AI. I think I've said it before and I keep repeating that because I think that's what we need to be prepared for to handle the future. And please don't wait to get your MCC hours. As soon as you have your PCC, you feel you're great with that, start learning, after 1,000 hours, go for your MCC because the behaviors, let's say, if you adopt the MCC behaviors, the earlier you adopt them, the better it will be for you and will give you a wider scope as a coach to work on. Okay, that's my advice. Just reach out to me, find me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to help and discuss and come on to BCC. Surely. Yes, Mariana. Thank you. Thank you for your question, Raya. Thank you for being here.
Judith, I would like to thank you for your amazing presentation. And you know what? I really like you, I would say, sharp, short sentences. Who is coach about? What is coach is about? Who is coach? What is coach is about? It's just great. And coach is one who's the best to his client.
Exactly. I want the best for my clients. That's who I am. That's the coach. And that's how we should present. If you need somebody to fully support you, dear client, then select the coach. Select the one who you trust with and you are willing to work with that coach. Because we are not Mother Teresa. We are, that's Michael Bunge's, Daniel Bunge question book is, we are not for our ego to show how clever we are. We are not there to protect you from life as Mother Teresa, and we are not there to control your life. We are there to support you because you're an absolutely fantastic human being. And as we work together, this will come to light that you can manage and run your own life beautifully.
Yeah, and thank you also for the establishing of BCC Community platform. And I also have a chart in front of me, 2019 to 2025 ICF Core Competencies comparison. It's actually the comparison which been published yesterday. And there, what I see for myself, which is really important, what I'm going to imply the first thing is tomorrow, it's number 2, embodies a coaching mindset, which is the definition has been changed and it's engaged in ongoing personal and professional learning and development as a coach.
Absolutely. That's a must for us.
And that is a key for all of us. So guys, any question? And thank you for Judith.
Exactly. Your time is up and I'm grateful for you being here.
And I would like to finish the session with all your permission.
Thank you very much, Judith.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judith.
Thank you and hope to see you in other forums. Come and keep learning. There's so many beauties we can discover for ourselves and for our clients.
Nagyon szépen köszönöm.
Szívesen, welcome. Köszönöm.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Closing the session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.